Hello everyone, welcome to Obby Creator. Today we are going to be showing you how to make a code system in Obby Creator. So first of all, go ahead and load up your Obby. And we're going to go into edit mode. Now, we're first going to make a part and go ahead and place that down. Then we're going to go ahead and scale it. Going to add a few buttons for our keys for the numbers that we'll have for the code. So for this, we're just going to have 3. And I'm just going to name them A, B, C for simple terms for this tutorial. So we have made it on the front of the place we are looking, and we are now going to rename it A, B, and C. Now you can name these 1, 2, 3, but personally letters are easier because numbers get tagged. And Roman numerals, you can use them, but they're more complicated for the user using it. So I personally like using alphabet. So in this example, we're just going to have 3 buttons, which is very low security. I suggest you don't do this. But for an example, you can see how you would do this. So we're going to go ahead and go to behavior, and we want to make sure that we go ahead and make sure the button type is set to make objects visible. Activate for others should be false. You can just follow along. Definitely show timer. You should have that off. Time should be about 1.3. I use 1.3. We might change it. And click radius, that's just the click radius. I like to keep it high. Next, we're done with the buttons. So we're going to add a conveyor. So this is going to be the system that we are using to be able to actually make the system. So at first, this is going to be your spawn conveyor, where it all starts. So really simple. We're going to go ahead and clone this with this Control C and move that there, rescale it. And we're going to turn can collide to false, because we don't want it always to be going, you know? Now, I'm going to add a timed part. So this is kind of like our security method if someone just spams. So, yeah. The fade time should be 0.1, and the time till up here 0.5. That should be good. We're going to make sure player activated is false, because we only want this to be push block activated, so make that true. Now, we have basically done the conveyor, and we are going to add a push block. Now this push block, we'll go ahead and do that. So we're going to select all of them using Control and move it up. And you can use 2 on your keyboard to fly. Now, we can actually make this work. So we are going to get a respawn part. So the block gets respawned when it falls. You could also use the void, but I personally use respawn parts. Let's go ahead and scale it. You can stretch it out, because, yep. and you can reset the block like that. And as you can see, it didn't work because we need to set respawn push blocks to true. Now you can see we have a push block that is respawning. So this is going to be our main system. Now we're going to actually make our buttons work. But first, we need can you guess it? The code. So in my case, I'm going to make a code based on the 3 letters, and that's what you want to do. You can use a website to randomize letters, and I'm going ahead and do that. And let's make our code cab, like a taxi cab. And since it's on the front, let's make it left. And now the user will see that. I'm going to do that. Rescale it. And there is our code. So this is just so we know what the code is. It has no actual function except telling us. Now, with the conveyor, when we click this button, we want to first add an object, which will be the conveyor, and confirm it. So now that's hooked to it. And when I press C, as you can see, it is actually working. So we have the first letter. Also keep in mind that I did this because C is the first letter and that conveyor is the first conveyor. So I'm just going to copy our conveyor parts and clone that 3 times because we have 3 letters. And that's basically how that works. You can customize it to your own liking. Next, we are going to hook them up. So as you can see, since C is the first one, that's the first conveyor. So we set C with the first conveyor. A is next. So we're going to grab the button A, hook it up, and since our second letter is A, we hook it up to the second conveyor and confirm. And then the same with B. Since B is the third letter, we click B, hook it up to the third conveyor, and boom, confirm it. So that's basically all for that. As you can see, if I press C, A, B, the block went to the end. Now, we actually need to teleport you. So that's what I want to do. You can use this forever you want, but I'm going to use it for like a saving checkpoint. So first we're going to make a button. I'm going to scale that. And this button will touch the block when it gets to the end. So now as you can see, CAB, well, it reset. Now let's actually make the button work. So on these configuration, you're gonna have push block to yes, player activated to no. You can keep the timer to like 5. And we want to make sure show timer's off. Any kind of show timer, always off. And I did a mistake here. Activate parts, don't do that. Keep it to the visible parts. You'll see why. But now we'll add a teleport path and scale this to as big as the platform that you want like your code to be at. Because you can't specify the only player who pressed the buttons. So we're going to say the player that's, around the buttons. Now we're going to clone this, pad. And let's say this is like level 2. So we're going to set the teleporter to teleport us to level 2. Now, we are going to go ahead and make sure that this is on can collide to no and transparency to 1, so you can't see it. Next, we're going to go to our button, edit objects, and select the teleport pad and confirm it. Now, when we press CAB, it doesn't work. That's because I told you to use the visible parts. So if you listen there, it'll probably work. You can watch me struggle here. So obviously another problem might be that your button isn't close enough and the cube isn't, reaching the button. So that might be a problem even if you listen to me. So make sure to do that. Now you can also set the time to be 2, and basically this is changing how long the conveyors stay. So this will be easier for the player, but it's easier to crack. So you can keep it at 1.3, but you'll have to tell the user to kind of be like at the exact speed, at a really good speed of clicking. So as you can see, I think it touched, but my reason's still because I have it set to activate parts. Another thing, you might want to disable cast shadow on the teleport pad, but it's really useless. Doesn't matter. So now let's actually make the thingy visible, and you basically the settings keep. So now, as you can see, if we go in and test it, CAB, we have been teleported. Now, let's actually make this nicer. So, since it's quicker, let's set it to 0.1. Here, as you can see, I put it to infinite. This was a mistake. Don't put it infinite, because that just means that the teleport pad stays visible for an infinite time, and that just looks annoying. So set it to 0.1. And we're gonna reset this by trying to get the code again. So come on, CAB, and as you can see, it flickers a bit, but it's gone. So CAB, and boom. So we basically created this basic system, but yeah, really simple, I must admit. So now, I'm gonna show you how to make this a little more compact. So you can scale it down, but you'll want to make the conveyor speed slower and add walls, because as you can see, it just kind of falls away. You see? So, yeah. We're gonna want to undo this, how we scaled it down, so we can add walls. Now, a wall is very important, just in case the block gets into a loop that it's falling onto the right or to the left. Now, personally, you don't need a wall in the back or the front. Just the left and right. Should be fine. Now with your wall, you can go ahead and select it all. Don't select the buttons. and scale it down. But when you make it smaller, just know that you'll have to enter the code faster because it's smaller. But that's basically how it works, you know? But now there's a problem. If we just spam, we still get the code right. Now, there's not really a way to fix this. It's because we have such a short code. Like, there's not many combinations. 3 letters. Like, nothing. Maybe there's a lot, but just 3 buttons. That's not enough. So we're going to keep the 3 buttons, but we're going to make our code longer. So don't keep it too long, otherwise it'll just be hard to enter. This is why you should go, instead of more like a small amount of buttons, just have like 9 buttons with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Something like that. And that way, it'll be much easier. So now, I'm going to show you how to make a longer code. So first, get all these walls away, because they'll be annoying. So we can just select all these conveyors and stuff. Control C, and put them there. And since we're using 8, we're going to get 2 of these. Control C, and put it there. Now with that, we have an 8-digit code. So we're going to set our fading part around there and extend our reset part. Now with that in place, we need to calibrate our things. So in my case, I went on ahead and did all the conveyors with A. So we can see that our first one is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2, 5, 8. So we get the second conveyor, the 5th conveyor, and the 8th conveyor to calibrate with 8. So 1 and 2, 5, 8, and confirm. And you're basically done. Now B. You can do the same. B is 1, 3, 6. So 1, 3, 6. So we want to edit the first conveyor, the third conveyor, which we already had, and the 6th conveyor. And do not count the starting conveyor. Next, we have C. So that's 4 and 7. So the 4th conveyor and the 7th conveyor. Not that one. So, yeah. And confirm. So now we can enter our code, which I really struggled with this. But as you can see, if you're just going to spam it, it's not going to work anymore because we have a longer code. You can see me trying this, but it's really difficult. That's why I suggest to using more numbers, more buttons, so you can have a shorter code, you know? And yeah. Next, we're gonna move our walls back. And we want to extend them. And done. Now, since we did that, we're going to move the teleport location over to our new generated place, because that's longer now. We're going to select all that, make it smaller. But not too small, because you can see that it's like flying. So here, as you can see, I'm really struggling to like do the code. That's because you have to be incredibly fast to enter this code. Because we have such a small, block. That's why I don't want to make it too small. But you could counteract that with a slower conveyor speed. If we had 20, I would go with a 6. But whatever fits you. So I moved it so I can actually see it. And as you can see, even like that, it's incredibly difficult. So now let's make it a bit bigger, not too big. And now try. Well, now you're too fast. So we're gonna try at a slower pace. Yeah, we gotta be really slow. Like I said, you gotta find that speed, the perfect speed. That's the annoying thing. Another thing you can do is remove some safety. So let's remove some of these fading parts because they're kind of making it difficult. So just remove like a row. So that's 1. We can also make the conveyors low. That's what I'm doing now. So you can see 20. I changed it to 10. If you were to use a small one, I use 6. But yeah. And don't worry about these like lines. It's cause, I don't know, it's like a visual glitch. So when you rejoin, you won't have these lines anymore. So don't be scared. So still a problem. So we're just gonna remove some safety barrier. So remove some of these fading parts. So as you can see, I can't make it 0.5, which is really annoying. So we're gonna remove like a row. Not like that. Like every one and then. You see? And keep the last one, because that's a very important one. So now if we try this, it worked. See? And since we have a long code, if we try and spam it, as you can see, it's not going to make it to the end. So that's that. We created a code. We made 3 letters. And should work like nearly every time. You can tweak it yourself to make it work, but you know how it works. You know? So knowing this now, we're just gonna polish it, because some people might want to look at this, you know? So we want to hide this. So you could probably make some of the parts invisible, but what I find easier is just to go ahead and move it here, like to the back of your obby. And we're gonna make a box around it. So it'll be perfectly functioning. And don't like make a huge part that's filled inside, because that'll break the cube. You want to make it like that. You also save money doing this, so don't argue. And you can also make more codes using the exact same thing we just did. So now with this, we made a locked box. I can select the box and move it all the way to the corner. So nobody will know what that box is for. They can't get inside it. And that's your code box. You can also label it inside if you want, so you know what they're for. But yeah, that's the simple of it. Thanks for watching. See ya.